The first ever home game in the SRL for the Newcastle Knights is about to get started here, and they have to play host to the Parramatta Eels here in their opening week of SRL TV. I'm Ollie Pache. Joining me tonight is Lachlan Martin. And Lachlan, the Knights are finally going to make their professional debut against a side that had struggled previously. What are you looking forward to in this matchup?
Yeah, I think it should be a very, very good matchup, Ollie. You know, both teams, the Knights, their first game in the SRL, up against the Parramatta Eels, who have been, well, for the most part, struggling in recent years. Obviously, they finished top 4 the first 2 seasons, but since then, they haven't been able to escape the bottom 2, finishing 7th in back-to-back seasons. Obviously, Luke Short has done a recruitment drive this past season. Levi Raymond, Brody Kennedy, obviously some very strong players there. A little bit worried about that forward pack. We'll have to see how that forward pack is up to this monstrous pack of the Newcastle Knights. This game could go either way.
Yep, and it's the newest recruit that you just mentioned, Levi Raymond, kick things off on the first run taken by the Knights captain Logan Strange, and he will get past zone 20 just barely before he's brought down. Justin Barisic. Barisic has been put into the starting lineup, which to me was a bit of a surprise. I expected to see Anthony McDonald likely taking that starting role, but they've elected to have Barisic fill the void that was, I believe, previously filled by Matt Downey at starting prop. They also have Attila Settendag coming in to play lock, the vice captain, so he will be coming back there from second row. And of course, starting second row of a new rookie, Christian McKay, as Tom Ponkston is going to put this one deep into the corridor for the Parramatta, and Brody Kennedy gets his first touch as a Parramatta Eel. He dodges his first tackle, is brought down by Mark Lee. And on the Knights side, what have you been seeing from them in terms of what they want to run for their side with their newest recruits? Of course, everyone is new to the squad, so they've imported from a lot here as Kennedy takes off.
Yeah, look, I think the Knights have some interesting selection decisions over. They were named on Friday afternoon. Most interesting to me is Sabbath Ta'ua being named on the bench. Very surprised about that as well. The ball goes over the sideline there.
Yeah, I think I was touched there. I think it was juggled by Ford and then was touched by Ponkston. Oh, it was actually Isaac Edwards there that ran into the offline, and I think they'll give that ball over to Parramatta, which they do. Yeah, so you were mentioning there about their odd selections, of course. They do have 2 rookie starters for them. Dom Ponkston, as you mentioned earlier, and Manu Fa'afili, who's starting over Sabbath Ta'ua.
Yeah, very interesting decision there by the Newcastle Knights. We'll have to see if that decision pays dividends. Ooh, big tackle there.
Yeah, that one was just caught him way too high, and flipping Levi Raymond, 64% goal kicker, to perhaps get the first points for Parramatta, give them a better lead. We await the kick. From the left hash is right through. And to well right to left there, and 2-0 lead for Para 4 minutes in.
Yeah, Parramatta, smart decision they're taking the 2 points, getting the points early. I would like to see them maybe show off their attack a little bit. They do have some stroke power in the form of Cherry Evans, Brody Kennedy, Blake Harris, Levi Raymond, a very strong spine, but they decide to take 2, and they'll get the ball back here. Interesting decision, but I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just good to get some points on the board. You know, they were shut out a couple times. A short cops a hit there from Premiership winner last season, Robert Mollison, put in an absolute splendid performance at grand final. Well, I believe it was player of the year for that one, as Harris will send it out to Freeburn, who has to wrestle back to the 30. Has been interesting there. Shannon Freeburn, I believe, was mostly seeing a bench role, but with the new exodus and rechanging, Freeburn has found himself in the starting side again. Freeman will go to Harris, and now with Kennedy through the spine out to Michael Crimp, who tries to take off there, but Neil's there to wrap him up. That's what I think we should definitely keep our focus on with a nice Canada attack. Jack O'Neill has been very dangerous from his days of Canberra, and we'll likely be looking for the same here, as there's a good touch finder to make sure there's no big return.
Yeah, great stuff there by the Eels. Just kicking down to the corner. They have to start now within their own 10 middle line. Blake Harris it was. Finding it. They just dribble into touch, and now the Knights have to come off their own line here. Great defense. Great to kick there from the Eels.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting way that the Eels are playing this. They're not really playing a high tempo. There's more cases of them just trying to slow the game down and it ends up getting them penalized. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I like from the Eels is that they're trying to dictate the pace and just try to play it at their tempo, which is slow and methodical. And the Knights haven't really had an answer for it just yet.
Yeah, look, it was an interesting, good kick there, but the Eels giving away that penalty. They didn't need that, and now the Knights already inside their own half. Second tackle. They really should have, dictated the pace. They kept them down there, but instead, they now have to. Yeah. The Knights are now in good attacking position here.
Yeah, I think they just got a little overzealous there, honestly, trying to make sure that they kept them down. As Vaughan looked to find Strange again on his second run of this set. Swarm there in a 3-man tackle. Captain on captain there as well. With both of them playing in the 8, Logan Strange looks short as Mobberston taking off, gets an offload away for Vaughan. Vaughan nearly broke through the tackle there, but Harris was able to get him to ground on the last. He forces Isaac Edwards to take the kick there, but it ends up being fumbled by Sadler. A huge miscommunication there, and the Knights cough up their first big attacking opportunity.
Yeah, I think that sort of shows the combinations are probably still working for the Knights. Obviously, first game is they throw an intercept here.
Harris got a bit too overzealous, stops the offload, and there goes Strange! Intercept try! The first try for Newcastle goes right to the captain.
The skipper for the Knights, he'll like that one. He got in the way of, I think it was Bo Sadler who was meant to put the kick in there, but he just takes the intercept here from Blake Harris. Thought he got caught here, but the defenders just fell off. About 3 defenders did. And he gets to the line there, and the Eels will be disappointed there because they've conceded now first. And it is Logan Strange crossing over there. Great try.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a lot in the preseason, in the 9 as well. And also in the SRL community about how this is big boy season. And it ends up being the big boy try for Logan Strange that gets him first there. Mark Lee, he nearly automatic kick, a 97% accuracy from his previous career, and was not going to miss that one as Knights take a 6-2 lead. And I feel like Parramatta would definitely be worrying about held and tackle penalty and think about what else can they do here now, because again, they've had a lot of struggles in their first half where they've given up points, and they seem to come in bunches. Who would you rely on here in defense to try and make sure that the Knights don't run it back and get another 6 on the board?
Yeah, I think they've got to, I think there's one in particular player, one of their new recruits, in fact. They have to just, he has to stand up and just, take this game by the scruff of the neck in defense. Jordan Ford, in my opinion, one of the most underrated defenders in the competition. He has to just start, I think he needs to move in the middle somewhere and just put a big shot on somewhere. Whether it's Bo Sadler, Logan Strange, even like Mark Lee or something, just get in the middle, put a shot on. He'll inspire the team because he's a great defender in this competition.
Had a lot of big shots put on in the past, but they look to get away from him. It's Spillane. Oh, McKay forces an offload, and Barisic ends up cleaning that one up. And now the Eels, after an intercept, hope to get some more points off turnovers. There goes Crimp through a tackle and through the line, and nearly down into the Knights' red zone already on tackle 2. Much more prime attacking opportunity than the Knights had previously. There's an offload. Raymond was taken out off the ball there, I believe, by Lee, but the ball just bounced harmlessly into the hands of Harris, who took it about 15 out. Evans now to forward in attack. Just trying to get through the tackle of Mobberston. Forcing the goal line stand now. Harris, the pass was wayward from Raymond. Ends up having to be Lee that brings them down. 6 out from the line. Raymond goes over to Cherry Evans. Evans puts up the bomb towards the left wing of Mendonca, but it's taken there by the centre Ponkson. Ponkson puts on a step, and he puts on another and nearly breaks free. The Knights hold on here and will have their first tackle 25 out from their own line.
Great stuff there from the young rookie Dom Ponkston. One of the most hyped up rookies, obviously picking up the Mines player of the season last year. Picked up by the Knights. He's a very big, tall centre. Traditionally a fullback, but he's playing out in the centres today. Really looking forward to see how he goes first in this one, but that was a great big catch there. That'll give him a lot of confidence, that catch.
Yeah, especially having that high vertical jump there, getting up there to really take that one. As Spillane just getting past a rookie McKay. Puts out an offload, but it was forward to Vaughan. And a chance goes begging.
Yeah, Spillane, he shouldn't be tainted his arm that often. Second error he's had so far in this game. We're only 14 minutes in. He has to be careful there, Spillane. It's cost this team enough opportunities now. Levi Raymond up the middle.
Yep, Settenberg had his pass knocked down, but ends up being a set restart, basically. Yep, 0 tackle called by the referee. Now the Eels again get to press their assault. Settenberg 35 out. Just one up to Barisic, who nearly gets through the tackle of Mobiston. They back for Raymond. I really like that little switch play they ran there as well. Just changing the angle of attack there, and I think it definitely put the Knights off and led to them getting that extra 6 tackles. It's Evans now out to Kennedy. 40 was going for a cutout ball there, but Kennedy just took it to the line himself, was brought down there by Pongston. Now we go to a wing with Mendonca. Mendonca trying to push past, but can't do so. Last tackle again. They're about 5 out. Last time didn't work out so well. That one even worse. Ford ended up having it spill out to Cherry Evans, and everyone was pretty much in an offside position, so he has to take the run and hand it over.
Yeah, that was... I don't even know what happened there from the Eels. And another 5th tackle option. They were good early on, but that one never looked like making them in. I don't know where. I think it was Levi Raymond that threw it back. I don't know where he was throwing it back to.
Yeah, I mean, it just bounced off Jordan Ford. I think with intending Cherry Evans, just missed him as Lee ends up going by Kennedy. Former Panther beats former Panther, but Lee is chased down there. I believe it was Evans that made the tackle, and O'Neill rockets from dummy half. Throws a pass out. The intercept was on there for Harris, but he didn't get there, and Spillane is going to be turned. And Broad definitely held up. Wow, that one nearly went the exact other way, but Jack Spillane also nearly took it over.
And now a knock on.
Oh, dear. It's miscommunication from the front rowers. I mean, the vice captain throwing to the captain, and I'm sure there'll be a bit of a spray given there towards Mark Lee, but have to shrug and move on here as Raymond finds Ford, and Ford breaking free in attack. Got an offload out, but it's right to Mobiston. And this has been rather poor in attack there, because I just feel like we've had so many intercepts thrown as Sadler making his way through now, just inside the 20. We need to try and hold on to the ball more, especially in this wet weather. We're seeing the rain is coming down a fair bit heavier than it was.
Yeah, the rain, it's pouring down, forced a few errors here. We have to see if the Eels defend if they cannot concede again.
Yep. Vaughan trying to get through there, but the tackle of Harrison Freeburn wraps him up. Iron quick pass out to O'Neill. O'Neill, can he fight through to the line? Might be upturned there. I'll have a look. Nope. Referee had a good view of it, and Raymond was able to get underneath O'Neill and not allow a grounding. Last tackle now. Lee out to Vaughan. Vaughan looks like a nearly perfectly weighted bomb back there, but it's right to Luke Short, and he tried a big boy season run, but that time is not going to be ending up being wrapped up by, well, it's not going to end up taking off anywhere anytime soon, rather. Just tackled about 12 out from his own line, and the Eels look like they may struggle to get out of their own end.
Yeah, that was a good set by the Knights, but in the end, halfback Luke Shaw was in the right position, and a forward pass, another error by Levi Raymond. This isn't looking good for the Eels.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it might just be that Raymond should be back in the halves position. Of course, we did have a recent changes announced to the SRL, and that the 5'8" and halfback position has been merged now to just be a half, and of course, all primary halves are now going to play a hooker at lock, so we won't see some 5'8" playing at fullback, and of course, like Harris had plans to play that, but ended up not doing so. Looks like a bit of a miscommunication here for the Knights again there, as it looks like they only kind of have 11 men on, and they're getting their substitutions in order. Vaughan out to Edwards. It doesn't matter. They find O'Neill, and O'Neill bursts through the line and gets his first try as a Knight.
Yeah, great stuff. A lot of talk in the media about Jack O'Neill moving from half to fullback. He scored 2 hat-tricks playing at fullback, and he cuts through the line there, gets around a defender, and the Eels, after all that attack, all those errors they've had, they eventually let that man, Jack O'Neill, cross over, and well, once again, the Knights, they score, and the Eels are going to be probably down by 10 here, assuming Mark Lee gets this kick.
Yeah, again, we mentioned it before, how high his accuracy is as a goal kicker, but that time it just hooked a little bit too far right, so I think I had like
Guess he's human.
40 for 42, yeah.
Guess he's human.
That one seemed like a very odd middle distance kick that he just didn't quite get right, so that might be the pressure of a New Jersey, but still, Knights lead by 8. I'm sure all of you that tried to back the Knights 5-8 there, that was actually the most backed on SRL Weekly Bets, at least. from the data that we have. So I think everyone's there just hoping that the scoreline kind of stays as it is. It looks like both teams rather have made their changes. We're going to see Cameron Relentless and Lachlan Cherney on. Lachlan Cherney making his night's debut, and inside of the Eels, Jordan Marshall and Logan Schmidt. Here's Cherney. Oh, Cherney put an absolute shoulder in a Christian McKay, and McKay just went flying. The big man just looked like he got hit under the center of gravity and decided that gravity should depart from him.
Yeah, Lachlan Cherney, what a first touch in the SRL. First game, and he just absolutely nails Christian McKay onto the ground. Obviously, Christian McKay's first game. Although it wasn't his first tackle, luckily, but it was Lachlan Cherney's first run. And great, He'll like that, Lachlan Cherney. He'll think that's a great start to his career. Yeah,
I mean, there was a lot of interesting parts to that draft as well. I don't believe Cherney was actually drafted. I believe it was just a UDFA signing for the Knights. Same with Dylan Murray, who we'll see later on. He gets into the drafting McKay, who was the Eels' first pick, I believe, and ended up absolutely leveling him as a result. As now the Eels look to send their attack kind of McKay's way, but ends up being Harris who takes the run on tackle 4, just getting up to halfway. Now it is McKay, but he quickly looks like to Freeburn. Freeburn had a man on his outside, but maybe didn't want to risk the intercept that time. Looked like it was Oldfield that was lying in wait, and then ends up taking the tackle. Long pass back for Settendog. Settendog will punt cross field. Ends up picking out Robbie Elms, another former Panther that has ended up joining the Newcastle outfit. There were rumours circulating whether he was going to retire, and only hang them up, a long veteran, and looks like to keep going. As here's Isaac Edwards bursting through the line, and Edwards is being chased down here by Kenny, but Kenny looks too scared to try and make an angle tackle on him. Eventually does get him down, but gave the Knights plenty of territory to work with here. Is now Relentless trying to go through. Look at that. Look at the absolute size difference on that. Christian McKay, so tall there compared to the Cameron Relentless. No. And then there's another intercept. That one ends up with Raymond. He runs over Lee. Ends up being brought down there. I believe that was Sadler. And actually, I'm quite sure that wasn't the pink headgear. Either way, a huge opportunity that was built by Isaac Edwards ends up falling through. As here goes Logan Schmidt. Nearly through the line. They end up getting themselves into Knights territory. Then we're now out to Evans. Evans to Russell. So Russell, not a name that we've really called upon, but named as their number 3. He's now out to Ford. They'll have it on the last. Doesn't look like they'll have much here.
Yeah, look, Alistair Russell was a bit of a interesting player to be named in the centres. Obviously, only option they realistically had, excluding Christian McKay, is probably a bit too big to place in the centres. If they wanted to play Cherry Everton in centre, they really needed Alistair Russell to play in the centres. I think he's just doing a job there for the moment. I think they probably do have plans to get a centre in there at some point. Because, you know, if Cherry Evans is too good to play in the centres, they need him in the halves. It just sort of is unlucky for Alistair Russell, who is forced to go into the centres to help just do a job pretty much.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you can really manage when you have those certain team compositions. Of course, no real reserves. As O'Neill maybe trying to look through here. Just got by Kennedy, but ends up getting an offload out. Bonkston was nearly through there, but Mendonca makes a try-saving tackle. Tackle 4 now. Trying to interfere with Feely. Just tackled inside the 10 there by Marshall and Raymond. The two hookers combining. Lee out to Vaughan. Vaughan the grubber kick. Where's it? Wait, it's Cam Relentless! Oh, well, it might be big boy season, but it's the smallest prop in the comp that gets the second try of his career and his first as a Knight.
Yeah, great stuff. He's sort of a bit of a journeyman, Cameron Relentless. Obviously was at Penrith last season. Before that was at the Warriors and the Rabbitohs. Storm and the Raiders. I think it's his 6th club almost, but just perfectly weighted kick from Matthew Vaughan. Logan Schmidt, a little bit passive on that ball. Bounces up for Cameron Relentless, and he just manages to weave his way, finds the try line, and scores the Knights' 3rd try of the game.
Yeah, that was... I think Schmidt just might have made a rookie mistake. They're not trying to come onto the ball. I mean, we honestly do see it frequently from forwards that they're not really willing to risk themselves going after it, but wow, the Newcastle Knights are already taking it to the Eels halfway through this game. They're up by 14. One has to think whether that penalty goal or when they had that high tackle deep in Knights territory, that was a huge mistake for them, because I'm sure the momentum of this game will feel a lot different if it was 16-6 rather than 16-2.
Yeah, well, on top of that, it was since that penalty goal, obviously they had a great set-off, the kick to the sideline, had Knights down in their own territory, gave away a penalty, and it's been that since that penalty, it's all been the Knights. I don't know if the Eels have been back down to the Knights territory since they made that tackle down there. It's been relentless from the Knights, even more so now that Relentless has scored. But
I was hoping that wasn't some terrible pun you were trying to make there, and just was a crux of your vocabulary, as McKay may have been considered offside there, but actually never laid a finger on him, and Harris was a man to make the tackle. Right now out to Oldfield, and it doesn't look like the Knights are going to get too much out of this set unless they can create a breakaway here, and they do in part with Spillane, but he runs right into Kennedy. Ends up just muscling him forward and gains about 6 post-contact meters. It looks like it will just be the punt option here for Vaughan. Deep, but not quite very deep, and just does allow the Knights kick chasers, though, to really get onto that one, as ends up being Isaac Edwards that brings down Thomas Mendonca before he can even get himself going.
yeah, I like that strategy there from the Newcastle Knights. They sort of just put a lot of pressure there on Thomas Mendonca. He made a good catch, but there was no room for him to sort of do anything with the ball. It was just Isaac Edwards just came around and made a brilliant tackle, and just like that, the Eels are struggling here, although Kennedy can spark something, and that was a good run there from the ex-Panthers fullback, now Eels fullback.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was just kind of what they needed to do in attack there as well, because I was just a little switch play there where they go out to Raymond and then Harris, and then a little inside ball out for Kennedy, and it was able to spring him a bit. I'm going to look for more of those, because it doesn't seem like the Knights really have any answer for it, as here's Harris with another touch finder attempt, but ends up just picking out Maverick Oldfield. He puts a step on Freeburn and breaks with a tackle of McKay, but Kennedy was in the kick chase involved and just absolutely forced him back behind his own 30. 4 now out to Edwards. The halves combining. Edwards tries to take the run on and brought down by Raymond for not much gained. Lee out to Vaughan. Out to Spillane. Been trying to get through another tackle there, but didn't do very much on that regard. Lee out to Vaughan. Vaughan, late pass out to O'Neill, then out to Edwards. They have a little bit of numbers, but they aren't able to utilize it. Edwards was quickly wrapped up there by Jordan Ford, showing some of his defensive prowess that time. Feeling now for Tierney. Tierney runs through a man, gets an offload out for Sadler. Really just trying to put his shoulders into every one of the Parramatta Eels here. As Lee now out to Vaughan. Vaughan the kick. High in the air will allow the nice chasers to swarm down, though it looks like Ponson was a little bit too scared to go after Mendonca. Perhaps just didn't want to get that tackle on the air penalty, and Edwards ends up making the challenge there and ends up winning it, not allowing Mendonca to move past him.
Yeah, it was good. Another good kick chase there from the Knights. Been really well at that, not allowing Thomas Mendonca to get any sort of speed up to make a step. And once again, the Knights are getting the Eels stuck down in their own territory.
Yeah, again, I mentioned that they just need to try and get the ball into Kennedy's hands, but it doesn't look like they'll have it on this occasion. The Rustlins are making a little duck and weave and then an offload out to Ford, but probably was a bad idea to do that, as Feely ends up wrestling him back and really showing his stuff there. I do realize now, Feely and McKay do have very similar looks, both tall second rowers, primarily front rowers, and have those long flowing locks that they have up in the ponytail, as Robbie Elms making his own kick return nearly down past a red basket, as Feely ends up taking the run for himself nearly to halfway. Now out to Edwards and then to Relentless. Unless you can just see how much smaller in stature he is, even compared to a player like Attila Settendog, who may look small in comparison to some of his Eels teammates. No. There's an upward out to Vaughan. Vaughan, ankle tap by Kennedy. Tried to get up again and go, but he ends up having his hands placed on by Marshall. Edwards out to Cherney, and that time Cherney ends up losing a ruck battle. Great tackle there. I believe that's Jordan Ford getting involved again. 2 minutes left in this half. Vaughan up with the bomb. Kennedy trying to plant his feet in the in-goal area, but it's batted back right to Marshall, though. Marshall trying to take off down the sideline. He actually looked to the sideline. Instead just looked to the numbers, and he's brought down about 30 out from his own line. Might be the last set for the Eels to try and get a try on the board.
Yeah, another good last-ditch play there for Marshall to get onto that, tap back there. It was meant for Jack O'Neill. Ends up in the arms of Jordan Marshall. I wonder if, maybe a little bit more speed back there. I could have really done something there. He had a lot of space, but he just doesn't have the speed to really compete with the likes of Jack O'Neill, Isaac Edwards, who are really fast players in the SRL.
Indeed, as Cherry Evans will just select a kick here, but he was outside
Oh!
his 40, and no, O'Neill makes a huge mistake there. I think maybe he thought it was going to sit up, but has taken it into touch here. And he left from the field of play to do so, so that will mean the Eels got about 30 seconds of ball left.
Yeah, they really need to score here. If the Eels can get something here, it would be massive going into break to only be down 8. They definitely don't deserve to be only down by 8.
Yeah, and I mean, that will be also just a huge match. Perhaps there's just some miscommunication there for O'Neill as well. Maybe he just thought it was kicked from inside before. He was kind of like, well, whatever, so long as I get it down. But doesn't look like they may have a play here. They can hold down long enough. They play the ball, Mendonca can't, and it goes to the break. The Knights up by 14. Welcome back to the second half. The Newcastle Knights in their first home game have looked the very strongest side here in spite of only completing 11 of their 18 sets. Ollie Parcher and Lachlan Martin with you always. For this game, we're back, and Lockie, it's been a very interesting first half given how error-filled it was, but the Knights, in spite of a low completion percentage, have really had momentum in this one.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that Knights have managed to have that momentum, considering that, you know, they had 8 errors in that first half compared to the Eels 4. Now, I'm not sure if that's actually counting intercepts, because I feel like the Eels threw an intercept and a half every single set or something like that. It's ridiculous, that first half. The wet ball was definitely affecting both sides. I'm interested to see how both teams go in this second half.
Yeah, we nearly saw a 13th error this game for the Eels as Harris will pick this one, and it's not very good. Look at by Oldfield, and Oldfield racing away there, and his ankle tapped. Now Murray, who has been brought on here for his touch, and now Mark Lee bursting through. Can it get by Kennedy, his teammate, formerly? Not that time, just a metre short. Oh, Neil, a short ball is picked up by Raymond on an intercept, and there goes Levi Raymond. They're going to try and catch him here. Edwards is running. Is he going to get him? I don't know if he is. He's not going to get there. Raymond, coast to coast, and gets a first try for the Eels season.
Didn't take them very long at all. Mark Lee almost scoring there. He gets a quick play at the ball. Bit of a, sort of goes through the hands there. Raymond rushes up on the ball, picks it up. I thought he was going to get caught. Edwards looked like he had him. He dives probably a little bit too early. Maybe he couldn't have got him, but in the end, Raymond goes the distance. Didn't know he had that much legs on him. And just like that, the Eels are certainly back in it now. Only 8 points down.
Yeah, I mean, that was just having miscommunication again between that nice leadership group. O'Neill and a dummy half. Strange just couldn't find where the ball was, and Raymond, ever so alert, picked the ball up and took it the length of the field. That is a 12-point play there. Now ended up being 22-2. Instead, now just 16-8.
Yeah, well, it's been really incredible there from the Knights. I mean, Eels. You know, I thought the Knights, that was a very poor play. Just, you know, they've had a couple miscommunication plays where the Eels could have done similar things, but that's slow players getting the ball. And for once, they have Levi Raymond, who, although he's not the quickest player, certainly no slouch when it comes to speed, and he just picked it up and managed to go the distance. And the Eels, this is big. Oh no, but that's an error, isn't it? Oh no, that's poor.
That's on Jason Farah there. I think I'll put it on him. I think we're just trying to run another cross play, and that time Farah just ended up getting in the way of things and just going all right here for Parramatta, even with them only getting their first try, just not able to get themselves back in the game afterwards, perhaps just losing themselves in the moment as the Knights again looking to make an attack in the Eels red zone. Of course, we saw how it happened last time out where Mark Lee almost scored and ended up having ball given away almost immediately afterwards. It's now Sadler. Sadler has opted for the pink headgear now. Previously have a green, I believe, as part of the Broncos, but his changes look for this one. It's Lee shortly out to Vaughan, and now Spillane. Spillane just being driven back there. What a tackle, Blake Harris. The half just barely able to stop him from crossing over as Vaughan will put up the kick. It doesn't look like it'll get there in time, and Kennedy goes up for it. Wrapped up there and brought down, I believe, by Lachlan Sherney. Harris finds Settendarg on a short ball and catches Sadler napping a bit. It'll offload out to Raymond. Raymond tried to burst through the line again, but ended up behind it. And Strange ends up taking him to ground. Harris now out to Evans. He's trying to run again against Strange, but he does well from marker to bring him down at the 40 of the Eel side. Harisic now on forward, and very interesting to me that they decided to keep their starting props on with Short and Barisic, not opting to use Jordan Marshall and Logan Schmidt to commence the second half as Anthony McDonald gets another of his touches on as Cherry Evans puts up the high ball and taken there by Oldfield. Oldfield pulls on a step. Has actually swapped over rings with Robbie Elm by the looks of things, playing about right edge rather than the left when he looked previously. Edwards tries a little short side raid. Getting a lot of meters there against the tackle of Mendonca, so inside his own 40 now. There's O'Neill. O'Neill just up to halfway there, trying to get through that arm tackle of McDonald, but couldn't break him off. Out to Ua. Sab off to Ua. Of course, we mentioned him. He's going to be on the bench, and now he's finally getting his opportunity to make some runs out of them. As Lee now out to Edwards. Edwards now with Vaughan, working against Farah on the last. Not quite the last now. It is, though. Lee goes out to Mark Iron. Mark Iron will put a short kick in, ends up being taken by Cripp, and Cripp is taking off. Is he going to end up going all the way? It looks like one of the Knights, and O'Neill might have an angle on him, but he might be able to get to the corner first. Jack O'Neill gets the hips down. Oh, great try-saving tackle there, Jack O'Neill, making up for a previous mistake there with the pass, making sure to save 6 points that time. Now out quickly from the Eels. They get to mount their opportunity. First now to Raymond. Raymond out to Settendarg. Settendarg trying to get him through a tackle, but I think he got upturned there. Looks like we'll have to go upstairs for it, though.
Great tackle there earlier by O'Neill, and they're defending well here. Another great tackle. O'Neill and again. Settendarg got us back, but they don't have trouble yet, the Knights. They have to continue to defend these last two plays.
Yeah, there is a ruling there. Definitely saw it. No try on that occasion as Raymond looks to spread a right side for Harris, and then Brody Kennedy trying to work here against Spillane, but Spillane upturned again, breaking him up the ball to the line. Might have been a second effort there. Not given, though. Raymond. Oh, quick tackle from Marker. Perfectly timed by the Knights defense and stops the attack in its tracks.
Yeah, good defense there by the Knights. They were Raymond. He should have got the pass out quicker there. Disappointing stuff to go himself. And in the end, the Knights survived that brutal attack there by the Eels. But Eels have started this half like they started the first half. The momentum's definitely starting to swing back towards them. They're still down by 8 points, but they're definitely not out of it yet.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just one of those great timing things that you get taught as rugby league players, the international laws of the game. You go when the ball clears the rock, and Raymond didn't clear the rock very clearly, or quickly rather. And so he ended up being just tackled where he stood and ends up giving away the handover as Vaughan will kick out now to Crimp. Crimp doesn't have an opportunity to break a tackle, just brought down just inside the 40. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately with how often they end up in that space. So that's a signal the game has been fairly even to this point. We're now out to Short. Short brought down just at halfway here. Of course, I'm sure Luke Shaw will be looking to play some shots on here. And the Knights get the ball next. But haven't really taken the run of the front rowers, much to his chagrin probably, as Offload ended up with Cherry Evans, and he didn't get much out of it. Settendorf, barely able to retrieve the ball before it hit anyone else. Just tackled outside the Knights 30. The wingers retreat to try and cover off the kick, and ends up being out to the wing of Elms, formerly of Oldfield, as we mentioned. And about a third of the way through this first half, and Para thus far leading on the scoreboard. That may have been evenly matched, but there's a folding taking place, an origami session of a nice 20. I think it was Jack O'Neill, the victim, and then it goes to Harris. Harris had a certain try. He ends up being selfless, and it ends up resulting in Cherry Evans being held up.
The Knights defense there was crazy. I don't know how they stopped 2 tries there.
I don't know how it happened either. I thought Harris was certainly through, but he elected to throw another pass, a pass that was wholly unnecessary. Now it's Barisic. Did Barisic get to the line? We'll have a look.
I think he's on his back once more. The Knights are only just hanging on by a thread here.
Yeah, I mean, they've just been put under the pump here. They're basically having to defend from the goal line once more after that absolutely brutal hit late on, and the ball spill loses a result. Another hit was turned late on there by Don Cherry Evans, and I think it was to that tried to put him on, but not to any avail, as there's Jack O'Neill getting back into the aggression and brings down Luke Short. Again, the Eels will play it inside the 10 with an opportunity to put up a kick. Where's the bat back? Is it going to be a bat back?
Oh!
Again, that time to Kennedy, and Strange says no.
What a shot there by Strange. We'll just talk about the tap back. He gets the tap back, picks it up, and Logan Strange sees it straight away, just goes, no thank you, and absolutely destroys him. The Knights, they once again, they survived. Their defense has been good, but how much longer can they survive for? There were 2 try-saving tackles in that one set that looked almost certainly to score. They have to get out of their own end. They can't keep staying down here.
Yeah, I mean, that was just absolutely textbook defense, really, after that case. But there's a mistaken attack, and Raymond nearly had his second. He was being chased down there, though, and it was to and Lee, I believe, it got him to the ground. Settendorf goes left side to McDonald. McDonald tried to make his way through. Does he get to the line? Dylan Murray is short. Alistair Russell tries to run. It drives him back, along with, I believe, Murray again. Mendonca out to Evans. Evans is going to be held short of the line there by Sadler. Everyone pitching forward in defense to try and make sure that they keep him out. Settendorf now out to Harris. Harris trying to get through another tackle of Strange. He's short of the line, says the referee. Going to have to play it there. Has to hold now for Raymond. Evans, a grubber kick, but it's into an offside player. I think it was Ford retreating. And another chance for the Knights survive.
How many lifelines can this Knight side get? Their defense has been absolutely incredible, but the Eels, they keep taking one-out runs. Have not used their backlines. They have Thomas Mendonca and Michael Krimp waiting on the wings. They have to use those wingers. They're so deadly when they get good ball, but they haven't been able to get any good ball because they keep going these one-out runs. Silly attack
might just
there.
be the Knights living by Ricky Carmichael's motto, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And they've definitely been very lucky thanks to the hard work they've put in on their goal line defenses, as Sadler now trying to get some more territory for them. They would love to put up some extra points right now. Played out to Lee and then Vaughan, and now O'Neill. O'Neill puts on a step, trying to get through the tackle of Kennedy. Ends up just being brought down about 24 short of the line. Opens up the kicking game for them a fair bit. Vaughan will like to put up a high ball. Kennedy, it looks like underneath it. No, it's Krimp that came over from the right wing. Again, because of a high ball, no real opportunity to put a kick return on, and played it out for Raymond. And now Barisic and Short. Not being just brought down about 12 from his own line. Like some substitutions that need to be made here. Cherry Evans gets a pass away to Farah. Farah looked like it was running in slow motion a bit there. That ends up, gets into the Eels 40. Like the Eels have made their changes, their last of the match. Perhaps they'll have Christian McKay. Now Harris over to Farah. Farah trying to get through the tackle of Strange and Sadler, but nothing doing there. Last play now for Harris, who will elect to punt over to the wing. They're being taken in by Elms. Elms was met hard there by Freeburn. Not being brought to ground. So the Knights are able to quickly make their last substitutions as well as they get by. As there goes Lee through the line. Just got the pass out to Sadler, but pretty much tackled almost parallel to where Lee was. The other way out to Vaughan. Vaughan over to Iron. Iron puts on a step. He's going to try and beat Kennedy to the sideline, but no angle there and just end up having to take the tackle. 31 out. Vaughan now out to Spillane. Spillane through a hole. Spillane gets an offload out for Pongston, who's been brought on as a front rower. But he is brought down there by Jordan Ford. Lee now out for Edwards. Edwards to Ta'ua. Ta'ua playing off the bench this time. Brought down again by Ford and by McDonald as well. Lee will go short side Vaughan. Vaughan's kick is taken in by Russell. And the Knights defenders try to swarm to bring him back into the end goal, but ends up just keeping his feet there as Raymond there just took advantage of the markers not being square and dashes forward and gets 20 meters for his trouble. Also now out to Evans and then Ford again. Just trying to push by to but ends up being brought down. 35 out from his own line. Barron now to Kennedy. Kennedy put on a step, but the defense was there for him once more. And that time it's Lachlan Sherney making the tackle. Raymond out to Satendog and now Evans and Mendonca. Looks like he might have had a bit of a hole there, but not that time. Brought down there by Dylan Murray, who was brought on to replace Pongston. Setendog will get the kick away. Might have had nearly miscommunication again between Oldfield and O'Neill. Oldfield does break a tackle though and ends up getting about 20 out. And the Knights finally don't end up having to defend their own set and might have some energy here to try and push on.
Yeah, look, the Knights are still hanging on by a thread. They've definitely fixed up their errors in the past 5 minutes or so. I don't know how they survived that onslaught from earlier. Pongston now up the middle. Great run.
Pongston, I think. Not sure who he ended up running over there. That looked like Levi Raymond, actually, as he ends up just taking himself out for a nice joyride, but ended up being brought down still. Now on tackle for his opposite number in some ways, Mark Iron. Running out to Spillane, but Spillane didn't get very far. They might just have to punt here, and that opens up some dangerous avenues. Vaughan will do so. He looks cross field, looking for Mendonca. Mendonca does end up beating one tackle, but not the second. Good work there by, I believe, Isaac Edwards after Ta'ua had a missed tackle. It was still effective, being able to slow him down. Okay, now to Raymond. Out to Evans and Farrell. Farrell through a hole again, but it's just, it looks so massive in comparison. I think about Waite's really been slowing him down as he plays it out to Raymond and Harris. They got the inside ball out to Kennedy that time, but the line wasn't very spread.
Ooh, this
they
is...
ended up winning a tackle, holding tackle penalty though. That will be crucial.
That is absolutely... The Eels need this. They need to score this set. They're given a beautiful opportunity now to do something, and they've got to just do it. They've got to find something here. The Knights' defense has been unbreakable pretty much. It's got to be this set.
Yeah, they just need to find something. I mean, they only get a 95-meter coast-to-coast try and the penalty goal, and the conversion that resulted from that's all they've had is Harris saw a risky pass, even though he just got through the line there. He flicked it out to McKay, but ended up returning the ball at least for now. Here's the third play. McDonald getting about 5 meters, but another great tackle there by Cherney. He's probably been the most outstanding of the rookies that we've seen thus far. Evans now out for Kennedy. Kennedy's not going to get much there either. Great tackle there, Jack Spillane. Lee there also in assistance. Harris got it wide out for Short. Short trying to get through another tackle here, but just not getting by Edwards, though he does get about 11 out. Short out there to Raymond. Evans just got the grubber kick. It bounces off Pongston. Kennedy! Mistake from the rookie Pongston. Kennedy swoops in, and it's a 4-point game with a kick to come.
The Knights, you can only survive for so long. They've been brutal in defense here. On that goal line defense, that's unreal. A rebound off Pongston's legs. Sees Brody Kennedy pick it up. Logan Strange came around, trying to make a tackle. Kennedy just pushed past him. O'Neill was in poor positioning, and they're in. And we're about to have a 2-point ball game, assuming that Levi Raymond kicks this goal.
Yeah, one has to imagine that he will. I mean, it was so strange to me because I thought maybe O'Neill would be able to make another try-saving tackle, but not on that occasion, as we'll likely see a huge celebration here to make it a 2-point game. 10.5 minutes still to come here. Just keeping it as in. They know this job's not done. Clock just ticking over towards 7,000. This will be such a difficult task for both of these teams, just trying to make sure that they survive with the first points.
You have to hope that they just have to find something, Eels, if they want to come back. The Knights' defense has still been really good, but it's 2 points. The Knights have had given them so many opportunities this game. They have to find something in Eels in this last 10 minutes to grab at. They can't keep waiting for the Knights, because they keep waiting for the Knights, which is realistically the only way they've got up the field this game. Then they're not going to be... I can't see the Knights giving them an opportunity like that in this final 10 minutes.
No, I can't imagine that it will go... Logan Strange will be trying to let the Knights give up anything more. Just say to the boys, let's just try and, be the armor that stands strong against this Eels onslaught, Don't let yourself be stung by them, but they're holding up their own, really. I'm going to make sure they don't give up a crucial mistake, because there's Sherry Evans. The kick is deep and finds a lot of empty space.
Oh, no.
There's no man's land there, but O'Neill breaking through here, but thankfully Kennedy was onto it. Not sure that the read was there and did not allow O'Neill to break away down that left flank. Inside ball now came in for Edwards. More of a centering ball than an inside ball. Spillane. 8 minutes of play in this. Only 2 points in it. A penalty could end up tying this and be one of the very few times that we go to Golden Point. It's Strange making great meters. Another center. Lee now out to Spillane. Spillane will be tackled about 26 out from the Eels line. Gary mentioned around this point is where a lot of teams like to open up their kicking game, and it ends up being a punt by Vaughan out to Mendonca. Mendonca breaks through, but I thought he might have got scared of taking it towards the center of the park, and O'Neill ends up bringing it down at the Eels 30 on the left flank rather than going towards the center. Questionable decision making, perhaps. Now with 6:30 to go, look to go through the center once more with Short, trying to take advantage of some very tired bodies out there. Raymond looks left side, Evans, McDonald nearly spilled it, got an offload back out to Evans, but it's a very poor one. Cherney again waiting in defense there, and is helped down to the ground by Strange. Russell now to Mendonca down the wing. That's dangerously close to the sideline, but Oldfield can't bring him down. Mendonca played now for Russell. They'll have to punt here. It's Luke Short that makes the kick. It's a very deep one. It might be too deep. It is. It just bounces on the second one, dead in goal. And with 5:18 left, the Knights have a 7-tackle set.
Yeah, it was the right idea there from the skipper. One bounce too far that was. If that bounced one way the other way, could be a very different story right now.
Yes, Murray again dangerously close to the line here. I do want to mention that it's just maybe Luke Short not having the experience with his kicking game, but he knew how to put some backspin on that to maybe hold it up in the in-goal area and perhaps get a repeat set, which would be huge in the scheme of this game. O'Neill out to Oldfield. Oldfield for a lot of space. Kennedy came up hard. He had to gamble that he could make that tackle. Otherwise, it would certainly be curtains if Oldfield could make a cut inside and put them under the post with 4 minutes left. Making it likely an 8-point game and probably put this thing out of reach. Here's Pongston trying to get through a tackle. Can't quite do so. Good work. Ford, McDonald, Raymond all involved. Wingers retreat again. Edwards, a long punt. Down towards the wing of Cribb. Where we see something like we saw in the nines where the Eels just barely came back to be the Seagulls and caused a mammoth upset win. One has to think it is when you thought about them being down 14 at the halftime siren. Now with 3 minutes left and the ball, they might have a chance to win this one. But Farah, perhaps not the option to go to here. Perhaps it's just better for him to stay back and maybe cherry pick and make sure that there isn't a breakaway try that occurs. Forward through a tackle. O'Neill got back well though and makes another stop. 2:18 left now. Evans out to McKay. McKay, oh, look at Pongston. The first round draftee is going at it. Pongston brings him to ground. Now 2 minutes left. Harris will put the kick in. It's a very high one. It's up towards Oldfield. Oldfield makes the grab.
They have to force an error now. There's only a minute and a bit left. They have to force an error if they want to win.
It's either going to be force an error or maybe they get through the set quickly enough that they can force the kick and maybe they'll have one or two more plays. Oldfield now. Wrestled to the ground there. They're getting a lot of post-contact victories for the Eels. Hopefully no cackle efforts now from the Knights. They have to hold his final. Edwards A look left side now. It's with Lee. Lee through a hole. Kennedy has to reach for him. The ball's on the deck. It's picked up by McKay. You wanted Vieira. You got one. 30 seconds left. Try and make the most of something. Short through Pongston. Can't give up a penalty. They might try and kick one here to tie things up. Short now to Raymond. Raymond to McKay. McKay through a tackle. They might not have time. Stranger's going to try and hold him down as long as he can. They can't get the play up. The Knights are 1-0. They win their debut game. Unbelievable scenes here at McDonald Jones Stadium. What a victory for Newcastle.
Yeah, look, the Knights, they really put everything on the line there. They didn't score a single point in the second half, but they defended their absolute asses off. And in the end, they managed to survive on the skin of their teeth. What a performance there by the Knights. It was just an amazing game, that one.
And I have to credit Parramatta. The fight they brought in that second half was unreal. 15 of 15 for their sets. That's unreal in that second half. They looked so strong, and yet, they just couldn't end up getting themselves those last 2 points to even tie it, or the last try to win it. And the Knights, I mean, they will probably be just taking the 2 points and running with this one. Have to give credit to Jack Spillane. 16 tackles, none missed, 168 running meters, 5 line breaks in the second row. Did have the 2 errors, so absolutely not a perfect game by any stretch, but definitely did his job in defense, as well as brought them out some good work in attack. The side of the Eels, I mean, Levi Raymond, he did have that 95-meter run, so I'm sure some fantasy owners there will be very happy with that one. And a lot of players went over 100 meters as well, and also 22 tackles, none missed for both Raymond and Attila Settendag. Settendag did also have the penalty conceded, but this was a very, very, very hard-fought game between these two sides, and I think is a great way to start off the Knights campaign.
Yeah, they definitely put a lot of heart into this performance, the Newcastle Knights. You know, they had a lot of errors, 13 errors, you know, they've got to work on that, but in the end, their defense was just too good that the Eels were unable to crack it. And the Eels, they did very, very well today too, but they just were slightly short.
Yeah, and it's a tough 2 points to fall short by, because it means you don't get 2 points on the ladder. Well, with all of that being said, what an absolutely entertaining match to kick off, well, not quite kick off, but to continue week 1 of the SRL. We hope you get to join us for the following games of the round, for Lachlan Martin and all of the SRL staff. I've been Ollie Parche. We'll see you next time.